top 10 autumn fragrances for men. So there are quite a lot of autumn fragrances, but I have a list of 10 that I think kind of embodies the whole season. It gives you everything you could want from a fragrance for the autumn. I'm going to start with a very popular option. Actually, I'm going to start with two very popular options, both from Dior. These are Tobacco Color and Ambre Nuit, which means Amber Night. Both these are very, very warm, very strong, very long-lasting. Ambre Nuit, obviously amber fragrance, very smooth, velvety. There's a little bit of pink pepper thrown in there. Very nice. Unisex, both of these are unisex actually, so extra bonus there. So I like both of these equally. They're both delicious. Tobacco Color obviously is a tobacco fragrance, more smoky and mysterious. And then Ambre Nuit, like I said, is more velvety, satin-ish, just smooth, a little bit spicy sort of fragrance. But both of these are really, really good, super long lasting. I would say both probably last between 9 and 10 hours, so, you know, kind of powerhouses there. And also they're just really luxurious, really seductive sort of fragrances. Then I have to mention, this is Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan, so Amber Sultan. And this is obviously another amber fragrance similar to Ambre Nuit. This has lots of resins. This has amber, myrrh, benzoin, and then there's some spices like coriander, things like that, a little bit of sandalwood. So this is a very aromatic, very resinous, balsamic sort of fragrance. Very heavy. If you don't like resins and ambers, you probably won't like this, but this is very warm and cozy. This is probably one of the best men's fragrances for autumn, just in general, because it is so cozy. It's kind of, if you smelled frankincense, which is a type of resin, it kind of smells a little bit like this. So little bit smoky, but not too much. Mainly just you got the amber and the resins and things like that, but very strong. I would again say 9 to 10 hours, so pretty reliable fragrance. If you want something a little bit lighter but still nice and warm and cozy for the autumn, I would recommend this Incident Diplomatique from Jovoy. So this is definitely not quite as heavy as the previous ones on this list. This is more of a vetiver sort of fragrance. It has Java vetiver oil and Haitian vetiver. It also has a little bit of nutmeg for some of that spice. Then it has some patchouli and sandalwood. So, you know, vetiver as a note is definitely not as strong as tobacco or resins or things like that. So it's a little bit lighter, but it still has the warmth that you want from an autumn fragrance. Now, because it is a little bit lighter, a little bit grassier, kind of a dried grass sort of thing, with a little bit of the musk from the like patchouli and things like that, I would say longevity is a little bit less, maybe 7 to 8 hours, but again, this is kind of a different vibe if you want something just a little bit lighter, a little bit different. Then, the next one. This is unisex as well, another one of my favorites. Oud Satin Mood. This is probably the most delicious mix of oud and rose you will ever find in your life. This is best for, so oud is a very strong note on its own. It's very musky. It's a type of wood. It's just very musky and quite rare and quite expensive. So this is a more expensive fragrance. But mixing that really heavy note with rose, specifically Turkish rose, creates this wonderful, velvety, smooth, warm fragrance. Very cozy, very luxurious sort of fragrance. And I always say when I mention this, it's probably best as a special occasion fragrance because it is so expensive, A. B, it's just different from the rest. It's just special. So, I mean, that's what I do at least. I save it for special occasions. So, it's just a really nice fragrance, unique. You know, when you smell this, you could tell it's different from everything else. I haven't smelled anything that really smells similar to this, so at least so far. So it is very unique. Also, the longevity, probably 9 hours, I would say. Then, another one. So, if you like Dior, I have another Dior. This is Dior Intense. So I personally like all the Dior but I like this one the most. This one, delicious iris note, has a little bit of ambrette, which is musk mallow. It's a kind of musky note. A little bit of lavender as well, and I believe there's some wood notes, but really what you're gonna get is the musk of the musk mallow and then the iris, which again, kind of similar to Oud Satin Mood, but with different notes. You get the really strong note here, which is the ambrette, mixed with the softer, sweeter note, which is the iris flower. So, really nice note. It's a little bit spicy, I would say. Not in the typical way, but it just kind of has that little, it tickles your nose sort of thing. So, it's very strong. I would say 9 hours longevity here. Very reliable, very warm, cozy fragrance, this is nice if you want more of a musk heaviness instead of a smoky or woody heaviness. This is more of a musky fragrance, which is very nice again, especially with that iris note, gives it a nice smoothness to it. Then, the next one is, actually, I'll mention both of these. I'll mention both of these because they're both oud fragrances. So here you got the Creed Royal Oud here, and then you got the Tom Ford Tobacco Oud. So from the titles, you can have an idea of what's going on here. So Creed Royal Oud here is more of a pure oud, I would say. More, it's very strong. It is, I would say, it is very strong, but it's again unique. So smelling this it's a little bit smoky. It's not a smoky fragrance, but smelling it, I would say there's a little bit of smokiness in it. There's a little bit of there's a distant bonfire somewhere, mixed with, of course, the oud, which is a dry, musky sort of note. Very strong, not sweet at all. You know, if you don't like sweetness, might as well get this because there's no sweetness at all. Just really pure oud, royal oud. This is an extremely high quality fragrance, very high price point, but you do get what you pay for. And longevity, I would say, probably 9 hours, I would say. Then, in contrast, the other oud, which is the Tom Ford Tobacco Oud. Obviously, from the name, you're getting not only the oud, but also some of the tobacco. So, that, interestingly, it's a little bit sweeter than the Royal Oud, but again, kind of like distant bonfire smokiness, but more so than the Royal Oud because of the tobacco note. And the oud itself, I would say the oud itself is a little bit smoother in this one. Probably because it's been blended with a bit more notes, but yeah, definitely. I mean, both of these, if you're looking for oud, really great options here. And of course, Tom Ford is known for creating extremely nice fragrances. But moving on from the oud, I'm going to move on to, specifically, this is Replica Jazz Club, if you can see, which this is basically meant to liquefy the scent of what would be inside of a jazz club. So that's pretty cool to be just in general, but this mainly has tobacco notes, some whiskey notes, you know, the notes you would expect to find when you walk into a jazz club. So it has the smokiness, it has the boozy notes. Very nice, has a little bit of sweetness in the background. It is a little bit lighter than most of the other fragrances on this list. So I would say longevity 7 hours, but still, of course, long-lasting, good, very warm, definitely cozy. This is definitely one of the cozier fragrances on this list. And unique, of course, you know. Not too many fragrances aim to embody the smell of a jazz club, so you are getting something very nice and fun and unique here. And then, the last one that I have, this is Valentino Uomo. So, if it'll focus. So the thing about this is, the closest I would say this resembles is Dior Intense, because it has all, the very similar warm notes, a little bit of the more spicy notes, that sort of thing. Maybe a little bit more of a distant sweetness with this one, but in general, pretty similar to Dior Intense, and for that reason, it's quite a reliable fragrance. Very strong, warm, and long-lasting. I would say 8 to 9 hours for this one. And it's just nice, especially if you're already a fan of Valentino things, you might as well go with this. And again, it's just nice, it's warm, it's cozy. You can't really go wrong with it. There's not any weird notes that stick out and, ruin your day or anything. So that's my main list here of autumn fragrances for men, the best autumn fragrances. So if you like this video, or if you have anything to say about these fragrances, you could always leave your opinions down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.